Please don't be alarmed if I'm wearing the same shirt. I just recorded 2 videos at the same time. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, it's okay. I'm new here too. I just wanted to say that I hope everyone had a nice day off. Look, if you did have a day off, if you didn't have a day off, then I hope you had a good day at work, but I had a day off. Okay, so I had a good day off. I just wanted to say thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for getting to know me. Last video was a little, insane and unstructured, so I'm gonna do a lot better with. I don't like reading scripts because I've written scripts before in the past for my own for my past podcast, and I would stutter and all that stuff, and I didn't like doing all the takes. So I feel like it's a lot better for me to just do free talking because I can see it better in my head. And then this is like what you're going to get right now because brain is all scattered all over the place. It's 1:38 a.m. and I still have to do laundry. Still have to sort that out. Today, I would like to discuss this book right here. I mentioned this book in my second video, I believe, and really wanted to talk about this book because it definitely kept me up, okay? It kept me up till like 2 in the morning and I finished the whole book. As you can see, I don't play about annotations. See, I need to buy me some more of these because I don't have any more, but there's several of my favorite parts in this book, and I wanted to discuss this book first, where I got it from. I went to a NaNoWriMo meetup and I actually got it for free. It was on the table. And I was like, it was in 2024 too, and this book was written in 2024. So, what I want to do today is discuss the things in this book and how it relates to how we view celebrities in general. And, I don't even have a solution, but I feel like I have like maybe close. I don't have a perfect solution, okay, but I feel like I can definitely talk about it because I read this book. So this book was written by Ashley Spencer. She is a journalist. Sorry if you heard something from the mic. She is a journalist, and she has written for so many different magazines. She is a culture writer and reporter. She went in depth, okay, like I told you in the beginning, spoke with, what is that guy's name? I'm gonna put a picture of him because I'm gonna remember his name. Um, Lucas Gabriel, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. She spoke with Ryan from High School Musical. She spoke with so many other different people. She interviewed them actively. And the best thing about this book that I really enjoyed is she cited all of her sources. Sorry, you can see all of her sources are cited. So if you want to go and peruse and be nosy and look at, where she got her information from, there you go. This book starts with, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. Well, I am going to give you spoilers. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, sorry. But this book starts with talking about the the conception of Disney Channel and its move away from making the classic movies that we knew, like The Lion King and Aladdin, and moving into creating a more teen friendly environment that can inhabit not only kids and adults but teens. It started in the late 90s when I believe Bob Iger was hired to compete with Nickelodeon again, look, I remember this is from my facts, my facts. This is from my brain. So I'm also looking through the book, so I can get a little bit of like summary in there because I did take notes in the book as well. You're not going to get um any scoop on all the shows, but you will get scoop on the main ones, like Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven, some Disney Channel original movies, definitely High School Musical. I believe all the High School Musicals were touched. You're gonna get Even Stevens. You're gonna get I have this right, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. You're gonna get Sunny with a Chance, Demi Lovato. You're gonna get the Jonas Brothers. You're gonna get Camp Rock, Hannah Montana, which is the Waverly Place, and and the Cheetah Girls, of course. So, um, what I'll start by saying is you get a history, and then you get reality from behind the sets of what actually occurred on each show. And a lot of what actually occurred will make you appreciate that the stars that were in these shows did not harm themselves fatally. I'll be honest with you, because you're not just getting, um, hard days, staying up late. These people, especially Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus, um, Raven Simone, they went through a lot. And behind closed doors, you know, they went through a lot, and it's amazing to me that they actually um, are still here today, prospering and doing thriving. Like I think Demi Lovato got married, and Raven Simone seems to be very healthy. She looks beautiful. Um, um, Selena Gomez is doing great. Miley Cyrus is doing great. And um, I used to, as a child, I used to idolize these people, and I was very jealous of them. I saw them on TV, and I wasn't like TV was the way to connect to the peers around me, which was not happening. And then, um, I wasn't connecting with like other adults because I was a preteen, and I'm like, I don't want to connect with other adults. As a preteen, you look and you begin to compare because it was already done to you. You begin to compare yourself to the girls on the TV, and you cannot differentiate. And still, as an adult, you can't differentiate between fact and fiction. And so you're seeing people like Hannah Montana. You're seeing people like Raven Simone. You're seeing people like Demi Lovato, who is dating Joe Jonas. And, you hear all this drama that's going on. And you hear all this drama that's going on. And it really makes you think about, you know, what these little people at the time had to go through and how that has affected their brains and how that has affected how they function today and as adults, and why they crashed out and why they had such hard times transitioning from these types of happy-go-lucky goody two-shoes characters to where they are now as adults. What I really wanted to talk about is, um, I guess, three separate occasions, or three case studies, really. The first one being That's So Raven, and the second one being High School Musical, and the third one being Hannah Montana. Demi Lovato um, went through a lot as well. they all connect in an interesting way. So, first with Raven Simone. Um, with Raven Simone, and I'm paraphrasing from the book, um, she was ridiculed by a lot of the directors and the people on set because she was a little overweight. And she was seen as someone that was, she did her job, she went home. There was a lot that she went through. She was a child actor, you know, she was in the Cosby Show and things like that. And what I wanted to really point out with all of this, all the examples, is that there's a lot of stigma against women in like Hollywood. I guess you would say I would consider Disney Hollywood, but earlier Disney and still now, I guess they can't really get away from it. It was really centered on hating any autonomy that girls had. Um, with High School Musical, I there was a whole debacle with Vanessa Hudgens when the pictures came out. From what I read in this book, she was asked to apologize, even though she wasn't the one who leaked the pictures. It was an old boyfriend of hers. Um, she was asked to apologize, and she was told that she was not going to do it again, even though she went to the office and she was crying. And someone told her, um, did you learn your lesson? Or something like that, paraphrasing. If you want to know what actually was said, you can pick up the book. But um, I just thought about how at that time, I get, you know, you should not be sending pictures like that to anyone. But telling her that at the time, I'm pretty sure she knew that it was not going to help her. What she needed was someone to give her a hug and tell her it's going to be okay. And then the whole Dane Cook thing, where he, which is weird to me because I actually went back and looked at the video and she was 18 at the time, which is really weird because Dane Cook was a grown man. So I'm not sure why he thought that was okay, an okay joke. But I mean, you don't really hear about him anymore, so I guess he's where he needs to be. Hannah Montana, there was a lot going on with her. Apparently, you know, the father was a lot less responsible than she was. She had to be an adult in a lot of situations. Um, she was caught doing things that Disney didn't approve of. And Disney was very interesting because they had a very great media training process. They required all of their actors and actresses to be have like a squeaky clean image where they were seen as not normal kids. Like they were seen as, you know, they didn't party, they didn't go smoke or drink and do things that teenagers would do um, normally at the time. They did not have boyfriends, you know, they did not have girlfriends. They didn't like they didn't do things that Disney would be against, and Disney was against a lot of things. And not only did Disney also, with Hannah Montana, they forced her to apologize for a lot of things. And I think something happened where something was leaked or a picture or something. They asked her to apologize, and she apologized. And then, like many years later, she said, "I'm not sorry." So I find it interesting that Disney seemed to be so in control of these girls. And I guess in a way, they kind of had to deal with it because Disney was on top of the game at the time. I think Disney is slowly losing its touch. Definitely, slowly losing its touch. However, I do think Disney is still popular. Last example, or I already talked about it, but Demi Lovato, um, a lot, especially in the case with her, a lot of these kids were the breadwinners of the family. And I don't know what that pressure is like to have, a family depend on a 16, 15-year old to make them, to like give them their next meal. That is absolutely just mind blowing to me. And I don't know what that feels like, the pressure and the emotional instability that's there that should not be there, because the parents should be providing for the children. And the children, of course, it's okay for them to provide for themselves, in certain aspects, but at 15, 16, there's not, you can go and get you like lunch, or other something small like that, and your parents supposed to pay for everything else. Demi Lovato's mother, that woman is something. Okay, that woman is really something. Demi, it's taken her a long time to get where she is, and she seems to be in a very healthy place. I do think that it's it's a heavy burden to be the breadwinner in your family, and not only does Disney hate struggling of any kind, but they also seem to hate like imperfections, like Zac Efron. What's that guy's name? Sorry, I should say Charlie. Tony. Huh? Troy Bolton in High School Musical had a gap in the beginning. He had a little gap, like my gap, and he was told, if you want to play Troy, you need to get rid of that gap. And so his mom and dad took him to go get rid of that gap. Now, this is a 16-year-old boy. 16. He's 16. And you're telling him you need to get rid of that gap. You're telling him the way you were born. 16 years old is a very sensitive time. Very sensitive time for a child, someone going through puberty, to be told that. You look at Zac Efron now, he doesn't he don't look the same, you know. He doesn't look the same in the face area, I'll say. So who's to say that didn't create trauma in him when he was being told that? And who's to say that when Raven Simone was told she was too big, that that was creating some type of, self-hate in her. And it wasn't just Raven Simone and the girls I mentioned earlier that was going through this. There was the lady from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, who played the mom, who was pregnant, actually pregnant, okay, with a child. And the directors would tell Zack and Cody to make jabs at her on her weight. She was carrying a baby. She was pregnant. It wasn't just fat. It was like a baby in there. And Zack and Cody were like, we're not saying that. We're not saying that. We wouldn't say that to our moms, so we're not saying that to her. Dylan and Cole are they had to mature at a very young age because of the issues going on with their mother, who was, I believe, on drugs. And so they had to depend a lot on the people at the studio to help them, which it caused them to mature a lot faster, definitely. But I do think there's so much you don't know behind closed doors. And as an adult, it's definitely helped me to read this book and realize that there's so much that goes on that you don't know to create the shows that you see. There's so much that goes on, and I can't wait until they do a like someone investigates One Direction, because at the same time that like Disney was going on, One Direction was going on too. I think maybe it was like Disney 2009. Yeah, yeah. So I can't wait until we get like a book on that. I'm definitely gonna read that because there were some interesting things that was happening in One Direction, especially with the older women who was like coming onto them. I find that very interesting. So hopefully they talk about like they make a book on that. I'll be so down for reading that. That's all I have for today's video. If you want to read this book, please check it out at your library. Go to your like buy it. It's a really good book. I recommend it. Keep it in your library and definitely reference it because it is full of information that you will definitely reference, because I definitely will, because Disney was an empire back in the day, but now of course it's dwindling, and we know why, because it was built on the backs of children and the backs of young people who actually had a dream and they were being abused literally. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.